This is a Fox News alert. Protests are expected from Times Square to the UN this morning as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is set to address the General Assembly just moments from now.
Eric Shawn joining us live from the UN. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Griffin Ainsley. The Prime Minister coming here to the UN with a blunt message: no Palestinian state. We expect him to go on the podium, the green marble podium, about 20 minutes from now for his speech that we will bring you live here in the Fox News channel. He will call on Hamas to surrender and to release all the hostages and end the war in Gaza. As you know, the Prime Minister was the diplomat here at the United Nations representing Israel. This is very familiar territory for him. He has used the opportunity in the past to push his policies, but perhaps this time faces the most hostile audience ever. 151 of 193 nations have endorsed Palestinian statehood. He is expected to say that that is tantamount to rewarding Hamas and stands against the very principles upon which this organization was founded, calling it a, quote, shameful capitulation. Before he left Israel at the airport, he said when he comes here, he will speak the truth.
I will denounce those leaders who, instead of denouncing the murderers, rapists, and child burners, want to give them a state in the heart of the land of Israel. This will not happen.
He also is expected to call for Hamas to surrender and release the remaining hostages, 48 believed held, only 20 still alive. By the way, his flight from Tel Aviv, well, it reportedly took an unusual route straight over the Mediterranean, avoiding European airspace because of that arrest warrant against him from the International Criminal Court. His appearance here will likely be greeted by large demonstrations nearby, those pro-Palestinian, anti-Israeli demonstrations we've seen. They'll be kept a couple blocks away from the building, so they won't actually be here. One thing we'll be looking for is how many delegations are boycotting the speech. Likely when he takes the podium, others will stand up and walk out. Iran always does that every year. The ultimate diplomatic snub is leaving what's called a low-level note-taker. We'll see the indication of that, because that basically can be an indication of what this assembly thinks about the Prime Minister of Israel and what he stands for. Back to the studio.
All right, thank you so much, Eric. Let's bring in the United States Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. Good morning to you, Ambassador.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Well, we love having you here. Thank you so much. Wanted to ask you, the president was saying that he's not supporting the annexation of the West Bank. We know that the prime minister is going to be speaking today. We're expecting these protests. What's your reaction to all of this, the latest news?
I think you're going to hear the prime minister echo so many of the things that President Trump has been saying. Number one, don't forget October the 7th. It seems a lot of people have. Many people of the European leadership seems to have forgotten. There's one reason that this war has gone on as long as it has. There's one reason that Gaza is reduced to a rubble. There's one reason why there's so much suffering and deprivation going on in Gaza, and that's because Hamas, they're savages. What they did on October the 7th, they have continued to try to do to those who remain. And I think you're going to hear what President Trump said. President Trump has been morally clear, and he's been diplomatically clear. He's given the ultimatum to Hamas. Lay down your weapons. You have no future in Gaza. And he's saying to them, let all the hostages go. Let all of them go, and do it right now. I fully expect that that's what you're going to hear from the prime minister today, with a stern reminder to the Europeans that what they have done is they have rewarded Hamas by talking about a Palestinian state while there are hostages still being held.
So, Ambassador, you say that Netanyahu is going to speak directly to Hamas. What indication do we have that Hamas will hear the message, that it will be received?
Well, we got an indication that the prime minister is going to do something pretty novel. The IDF is setting up loudspeakers throughout Gaza. And as he speaks in New York, his speech is going to be carried so that it will hopefully be heard not only by Hamas, but by the hostages. He wants his voice to reach the hostages so that they can hear that he's telling them that they're not forgotten, they're not forsaken, and that everything that they're doing in Gaza is to get them released. And then he's going to issue the message to Hamas that they have to lay down their arms. They can have an exile, but they can't have a future. And the reason they can't is because they have no more future to have a role in Gaza than the Nazis would have had in the future of Germany after World War II. So they need to get that message. And the sooner they do, that's when the hostages come home. That's when this all ends. And hopefully the world can be a better place without Hamas.
Ambassador, you're a professional broadcaster. We got 45 seconds. Is there anything in the works now in terms of a release? We heard about Hamas, a direct letter to President Trump. Is there something churning right now, because we're hearing that, about the hostages and a deal?
There has never been a moment when there was not something working and working hard to try to get the hostages home. That's the number one goal. And it's not just the living hostages, but also the remains of those whose families want them home so that they can be given a proper burial and a respect for their lives. Let's hope that that breakthrough comes in the next few hours. I'll be praying for that, and I hope the world joins me in doing just that.
Ambassador, you're doing a great job. Thanks so much for communicating. We'll look forward to your remarks after the Prime Minister gives his remarks. Ambassador Mike Huckabee, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Amazing they're
Ambassador.
setting
Thank
up those
you.
speakers.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.